There is a sense that not very much is going to happen from these peace talks. So this basically means both sides don't expect or to have much optimism that there could be a big breakthrough, at least not anytime soon, as the talks are set to begin right now. Tatiana, very much appreciated. Good to hear from you and get that view from Moscow in a situation that appears to be deteriorating on the ground. All eyes on these talks that take place, or they begin on the Belarus and Ukraine border in just about an hour from now. Less than an hour from now is when those talks are set to begin. Geeta Mohan, our Foreign Affairs editor, also live with us. Geeta, we've heard from the Ukrainian side, we've heard from the Russian side, not much hope from these talks right now, but all eyes of the world are still going to be on those talks. Whatever little hope is resting on them, this is the tiny glimmer of diplomacy that's breaking through all the carnage and violence that we've seen play out over the last 5 days, with the cherry on top being Putin going nuclear yesterday.
That's right, Shiv, but there are two very important things to remember when one is looking at the negotiations. One is that Foreign Minister of Ukraine, Dmytro Kuleba, yesterday said that they're going ahead with no preconditions. Remember, earlier there were preconditions. The Russian side wanted certain guarantees, and the Ukrainian side said that there can be no preconditions when you're headed to talks. Secondly, that Putin has said there is going to be no ceasefire. So what we're seeing on our screens, the reports that we're getting from on the ground in Ukraine, Shiv, is that troops are moving ahead. Nobody has stopped. They're going ahead with their operations, and simultaneously we are seeing in Pripyat the negotiations that will be taking place in some time from now. I would not go ahead and call it peace talks just yet. They are initial negotiations that we would be seeing, talks between the two sides, because like you very rightly said, Shiv, the ground seems a little, does not seem firm enough for them to really come to an understanding where Putin would really take back his orders of having recognized territories that are integral part of Ukraine. On the other hand, Ukraine doesn't seem to be backing out or conveying to Russia that they will not go ahead with their idea of being a part of the European Union or their endeavor to be a member of NATO. So with this as your setting, they're going ahead and negotiating. Why are the negotiations taking place, Shiv? They're taking place right now is because there is now an increase in the cost to human life. Human lives are being lost. Again, the Ukrainian side very clearly said that we cannot have this war at the cost of Ukrainian people, and therefore there needs to be some point where we should at least start engaging and talking. It's also very, very important to note over here, Shiv, that the West, for all the support that they've extended to Ukraine, and a disappointed Zelenskyy, and I keep saying that, has been saying that when the time came to be there, they weren't there. If they would have been there with full force, in all probability, they would not have had to go ahead and negotiate or go to Belarus to negotiate. That is one condition that the Ukrainians had to agree on. Remember, Shiv, initially when talk of negotiations had come through, the Ukrainians had very clearly said that they're not going to go to Belarus, a country, an aggressor, working with Russia, sending tanks into their country, and to go to that land and negotiate peace or negotiate an understanding with Russia. But they had to buckle. Why? Because Russia is not stopping, and there's only that much that Ukrainian forces can do on the ground, even if they're getting weapons and ammo from the West and from NATO.
And, President Zelenskyy, Geeta, has just said, save your lives and leave. He's put out a video statement addressing Russian soldiers in a speech, speaking in Russian apparently, or Ukrainian. I think he's done videos before in Russian. This one's in Ukrainian, saying, save your lives and leave. A wartime president, a man who used to be a comedian, an actor who became a president, and now a wartime hero defending his country, has put out a video saying, save your lives and leave. You know, these videos, the video war, the information warfare that's been played out is absolutely stunning, Geeta. In this day and age, we've just seen a large-scale invasion of a country. We've just heard both sides talk about all the misinformation. We here on India Today are the most responsible channel. We always put out disclaimers about official claims being made from both sides. We don't believe anything. There is a lot of fog of war going on. But what do you make of President Zelenskyy saying, save your lives and leave, addressing the Russian forces at his doorstep, Geeta?
Well, see, he has really come out as somebody who's absolutely strong, standing behind his people and with his country. But then again, you know, when it comes to the kind of statements that are coming in, there is certain amount of posturing as well, Shiv, because the situation on the ground does not seem like it is going Ukraine's way to a certain extent, but certainly not going Russia's way when it comes to the economic cost that Russia will have to bear. Look at the kind of decisions that have been taken yesterday by Europe and by the West. Those sanctions, which are very, very stringent in nature, is something that the Russians will not be able to withstand. We have billionaires, Russian billionaires, Shiv, who are now coming out and saying the very same thing, that there is no room for war. So the messaging over here is certainly to create that, is certainly to send out a message that the Ukrainian side is not going to back down, that Ukraine stands firm. Ukraine's partners, although very late in the day, have come to a certain extent to their rescue. Countries like Sweden and Germany, very late in the day, have done away with their policies of no military, of not sending military weapons. Germany has increased its defense budget for the first time in so many years, Shiv, to provide arms and ammunition to Ukraine. So they do feel the strength, but it does seem like at this point in time, we should wait and watch what is going to happen at the border of Belarus and Ukraine, where the delegation of Ukraine and Russia are going to meet, and what the discussion would really entail. At this point in time, it's not leadership level, senior delegation level, but not leadership level. So again, we'll have to wait and see what really this entire talk, the negotiations would entail. We saw the Minsk Agreement 1, we saw Minsk 2. There was no implementation. Remember, when Minsk 2 happened, or the Minsk agreements were happening, Shiv, the parties to that agreement under the Normandy format had other countries too, which is France and Germany, Ukraine and Russia. But a key element to those talks were the leaders of Donbass region, that is Donetsk and Luhansk, because they've always been breakaway faction. This time around, that's not the case. They're breakaway, now recognized by Russia. It is Ukraine and Russia fighting it out till the very end.
45 minutes from now, those talks are set to begin. As Geeta provided context, these are not leadership talks. These are senior delegation talks. Both sides, very important to say, both sides are being very aggressive. Both sides have not placed much hope in any breakthrough, but there is a glimmer of a chance of some kind of de-escalation, even though it doesn't look like it at all at this point of time. No matter what, the war is on, the conflict is on, the fighting is on, the violence is on, people have died, but the two sides have decided to talk across the table. That's going to happen 45 minutes from now. I've got more images on the most brutal fighting that's taken place in the second largest city of Ukraine, in Kharkiv.